Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate, to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. You are tuned in to my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon on Universal Broadcasting Network out of the Sunset Gower Studio in Hollywood, California, and on Thursdays and Saturdays on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel AM 1050, KCAAradio.com as well. And this is a show about hope and happiness and how you can tune into your own reality show, because there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words on this show, no Kardashian talk, because we want you to focus on how you can be happy 88% of the time, not by talking about other people's lives. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. We are now over 34,000 views on YouTube, up from last year's numbers. Thank you so much. Also, a peace shout out, first of all, to the family of Robin Broom. My daughter Chloe's best friend Renee, who's actually been on this show. The two of them talked about bullying and beauty inside and out. If you want to see that show, find it on YouTube. But her aunt was one of the people who transitioned during the Utah flood. So we were there. She was a pilot, and there was just a beautiful ceremony up at Camarillo Airport. But we know that she's really not gone. She's just in another state, and she is with us all the time. But I did want to take a deep breath to just give that peace to the family right now. All right. And today's a date with, guess what? Marvin Gaye. It's Sexual Healing Week, the last week of every month with Dr. Marissa, the new Asian Dr. Ruth. And we have this fabulous panel of women that I've brought here today to talk about the positive side of sex. So one of the things that happened about a year, or was it a year ago? Maybe even more than a year ago. I usually talk about sex and romance and love and all that kind of good stuff on Valentine's month. And I had such a good time realizing that we don't talk about it. We talk about the dark side of it, but not necessarily the happy or bright or fun or, let's learn something on how to have more pleasure in our lives. And that's why this series was born. And we actually, because Jarvis, my assistant producer and sound engineer, wanted men on the show, we had our virgin male panel. No, they were not virgins, but it was their first time. And they came on several months ago and did a 2-part series because they had much more to say than I thought. So we're coming back, the battle of the sexes, or the non-battle, and having our virgin women's panel today. They are not virgins. It's just the first time. Well, maybe not. I haven't asked them yet. Could be. We will get to that into the introduction. So without further ado, please welcome someone who's actually in traffic. She'll be here in a minute, and I'll introduce her then. She's been on the show before. She's our sexpert on the panel, Tinyetta Denier. She'll be here in a minute. But we have Sonia Jackson. Hi. And Marianne Lewis. Hello. They are also part of my Agape Love Burrito family, Agape Choir. Marianne is a fellow diva and also assistant choir director, as well as Sonia Jackson is the woman in charge of the choir. She tries to herd us cats all over the place, and she's also the director-producer of a very funny play called Conversation Bout the Girls, which is why I'm wearing this. So we have to watch it because it has a tendency to slip. But I thought we would do the theme, since we're going to be talking about the girls in all aspects of that, and maybe even get a little bit of the play. So let's start with let's talk about the girls. So your play is actually, you have a little vignette about nipples. You have a little vignette about cleavage. Why?
We have vignettes about everything.
Okay.
Because they're out there. So the play itself covers everything about the breasts, from the good stuff to the not so good stuff, so that we can have healings all the way around. But it's funny, it's poignant, it has moments of questions. I've had all sorts of people come for a variety of reasons.
Come literally, or just come?
Well, we actually have someone on stage. Well, I don't want to tell everything.
Oh, okay. A Harry Met Sally moment, maybe?
Somebody's on stage? That's...
Well, you never know when it's going to happen sometimes,
This is true. Anything can pop up, I guess.
Yeah, anything and anytime. So, the play covers a variety of things. And we did it in Phoenix at one point in time. And when I was there were these 3 young men standing in the back when we came out, when we were finished. And I just asked them, I said, hello, did you enjoy the show? And they were just smiling and looking around and saying, yes. I said, well, who invited you? Because nobody, we just came. We wanted to learn about women.
Ah, okay.
And I said, did you? He goes, yeah, we learned all sorts of things.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So this fascination that our society seems to have with larger breasts, is it, I'm sure you talk about that. Is that a... the whole boob job. I didn't ask the male panel that. Yeah, or I did. What is it with the big? And I think they said, no, it's a personal preference. It doesn't always, but it does seem like bigger the better. No?
Well, I think because we've made such a deal about it, and for a long time it was a big thing to hide and cover up and don't let this out, and nobody wants to talk about anything.
Right.
So, no, people are supposed to, it doesn't exist, but it does.
Right.
Don't touch, but look, don't look, but touch. Don't look, don't touch, don't look.
Right,
don't,
right.
They're not
Just
there.
don't do that. No.
So everything, but you cannot watch a TV show
Right.
without it coming up.
Yeah.
You cannot have a movie without it coming up. You cannot have a book, a story. Even Reverend Michael brought him up on Sunday.
Yes, he did.
So to speak.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. So,
Well, and it goes along with society and how just the whole bigger is better, more is better. And but I think when people really come back to just the desire to connect and just to be with one another, there's this recognition of how amazing and wonderful we are just as we are. And I mean, I think there's plenty of men out there who they're happy no matter what this is. I don't think they care.
Handful, more than a handful,
or
whatever.
more than a mouthful.
Well,
Right.
I've heard
Why
that.
have more than a mouthful?
What's that?
Yeah. And there was this thing, I often wonder, because at one point in time, I was bigger than I am now. And
Really?
I went off of beef. And when I went off of beef, I dropped a whole cup size, and everything shrank in. And so there's sometimes...
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? See? All sorts of reasons
I'm
to
sorry.
ask that question. But I had and at one point in time, I was a vegetarian. Too. Now, it didn't change at that point in time, but one of the young girls in the choir who was growing up, one of the teens, I was talking to somebody and I said something about the beef, and they shrank, and she said, "You mean they can change sizes? But aren't they supposed to stay the same once you get them?"
Oh, no.
And she was very concerned because she was still growing into hers. Now, I've seen her since then. She's had a child, and she has more than grown into hers.
Yes, that's one good thing about having children. They will get bigger. And then the other good thing about gaining weight is they do get bigger. That's the only upside of my weight gain is I get asked, though, every week just about by someone who has the balls not the boobs, the balls, to ask, are
they
they
real?
real, right? Did I have surgery? And because apparently, well, we all know Asians usually don't have. And no, these are not paid for. So just in case, now that all, 180,000 of you listeners know that, nobody asked me anymore. But it is interesting. It is interesting because, a lot of women have the enhancements because they say that it makes them feel better about themselves, because it is something that does seem to attract more attention the bigger, right?
Yeah, but see, what are they looking at? They're not looking at you. They're still not looking at you. If you shifted from one size to another, and that was all you did it for, they're looking. Their eyes are a full foot below your eyes.
True, but isn't it part of who you are, though?
I think it's a part of who you are based on how you feel about who you are already, how you feel about yourself, you know. So if you don't have much and you still feel good about yourself, and you still you like how you look, and that's what you portray,
right.
then
Yeah. So yeah, it goes. Last week I had Janine Roth on, who is the author of Women, Food, and God, and we had a very moose on the table, frank discussion about weight, and I laid it all out on the line around, even when you're thin, do you like yourself better? Not necessarily. When you're heavy, do you hate yourself more? Yes, but there's still that, like you're saying, whatever the cup size, are you happy with what you are? And she said, hell is when you are not happy where you are.
exactly.
So are you happy with where you are? Okay, let's shift from the boobs. Marianne, I'm going to go to one of the questions that I asked the male panel, which was, what do women, I know you're not speaking on behalf of all the women in the world, but just, representative of what you've heard and yourself as well. What do you wish men did more of in the bedroom? I love this.
What do I wish men did more of in the bedroom?
And I'll give you a second to think about that, because I got to tell you what the men said. Okay. They all, all of the men in the panel, after I asked the question, they all went like this. Every single one of them. Okay, so we could do that too. We'll ask the question again. Here we go. What would women like to have more of in the bedroom? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, first it'd be wonderful just to, have a man in the bedroom. And, no, I mean, just find the bedroom. No.
What, they want the back of the car still?
Well, I found no
Just
matter
saying.
where.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be a little dry there. But, I think for me, I love closeness and laughter, and just really just being ourselves, where it's not all about performance and trying to prove something, and it's like, oh, look at this, but it's just a relaxed way of just being together. And I mean, a little more of that would be all right.
It would be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a personal preferences are whatever they are, but I think just listening and really being interested in what pleases me is, that's powerful for me, because I'm not going to be like the last person.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, whoever it is that you might have seen on some TV show or video or whatever else.
Porn.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's just not a depiction of reality.
Right.
And so to really have a listening and an interest in, what I like and what works for me, and, and then to have those moments where we're just sharing and laughing and enjoying one another. So
just having a man be particularly interested in what it is that you would like would be great. I amen to that.
That would be
Sonia.
so nice.
And I agree wholeheartedly with that. And attentive, and the fun, what you said, is a part of it, and the sharing and ask. Like she said, I'm not like that one before, and my preferences may be slightly different.
Or I'm not like the one in the porn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like
And-
do some other study.
Yeah.
Than
Than that. And,
Right,
you know, and so to have fun and play games and just have conversation and make it a game too. So there are, okay.
Okay, give me an example. Give me a game.
Okay, everybody has preferences.
Yes.
But you can make your own games up. And I'm not necessarily talking about going to the treasure chest or the pleasure chest, I guess it's called.
Yes.
Those kinds of things. You can do that, but you could, like, say, take a deck of cards and write something else on it yourself, something that you like. You know, pick things and then play games like.
Oh, that's a great
Just
idea.
make up your own games and have fun.
This
and
is what
say-
I would like instead of having the conversation over coffee.
Yeah, and then just then okay, you play you play war until the one comes up that okay, it's my turn, that kind of thing, and so play games, play strip poker, play strip war, play.
You fix the deck so there's just queens in there. You got to treat me like a queen. Oh look, the queen came up again.
So let's segue into that and welcome to Netta. Let's give her a little bit of applause. I know traffic is really bad. This is our resident sexpert that I've had on the show before. We just talked about what we want more of in the bedroom, and now we're segueing into being treated like a queen. So here's the deal. I asked the men, is it different with, now that women are stronger and dating a strong woman, is it fair to want to be treated like a queen? And let me define that. Have your doors open for you, have your meal paid for, have flowers being given like little tokens of romance, and not have to reach for your wallet to pay Dutch or to share the bill or to be equal in dating. So let's just put that moose on the table. By the way, if you don't know why I say moose on the table, I'm from Canada originally. Instead of the elephant on the room, it's the moose on the table. Okay. So let's, you work with a lot of couples. You work with a lot of, does that ever come up, literally?
Does it come up that women want to be treated well and treated well does not... It's different from being treated equal. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I'd say absolutely, in the sense that what I'm being taught by men is there are certain things they don't want us to do. Like I had a guy tell me the other day, you want to make me angry? Take out your own garbage. I have another friend who says, I don't let my woman do anything that has any chores that have to do with her back bending. So washing out the bathtub, mopping floors. No. Mopping floors, even, and this is something I even taught my own sons. I have 4 sons, and as each of them came of age, let's say over age 9 or 10, their job was as the day became dusk, they had to lock up the house. They had to make sure the windows and the doors were secure.
But is this a dying race? I mean, is chivalry dead? It's like that's the old-fashioned way, and come on, we're in the what century are we now? We're like, that's like old news, and you make more than I do, and like my niece was talking, she's dating a doctor, and he expects her to pick up half the bill now, and that's like a real like turnoff. But on the other hand, she's very successful too. So where do we deal with that, Marianne?
Well, I think that I like to think that chivalry is not dead.
Right.
I don't believe that it is, but at the same time, it could use a little resuscitation.
Mm-hmm.
But with parenting, like what Tanetta is talking about, and just really teaching our sons how to show up in a relationship and treat a woman, it's so very important. Treating them, showing them how to really be gentlemen,
Right.
Yes, gentle men.
Exactly. But society has changed in a lot of ways, and it's not quite the same financially for many individuals to just support an entire family. It's a partnership, and I think that's happening for a reason, because we are coming together more as partners, as opposed to, well, I'm only going to do this. And I think when men are in that role, sometimes it can slide over into domination, and I'm the one who runs everything, and so then that element of partnership is not there as much.
Right.
So, but I believe that you can be equals, but it doesn't mean you have to do the same things.
Right,
You
right.
know. So I think it is the nature of men to provide and to protect, and for women to have roles that are more in the nurturing and. But we all have the masculine and the feminine within us, and we all have those abilities. But for us to come together as partners and really have communication about what our relationships can look like.
Right.
For some people, they may not mind. It's like, as a woman, it's like, I'm happy to pay for this or to pay for that.
Right.
But I think it's kind of our nature to be cared for and to be, open my door and
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
take care of me.
Yeah, it is my preference. Like, I mean, if I know it's a non-negotiable, I know a relationship is over when I express the desire to have flowers. If I have to, it's bad enough that I have to actually say it would be nice to get flowers, but then to have it said, well, I don't give flowers, or I don't, so you don't need flowers. You can buy your own flowers. Then that's,
Right.
Sonia.
It's one of those things in a partnership, though. When you're actually in a partnership, I think there's a desire to take care of each other.
Yes.
And sometimes if the guy is saying, well, you can buy your own flowers, then he's not interested in a
Right.
partnership.
Right.
And that tells you something, and that's like,
That's why it's-
and then I go, oh, great, thank you so much
For letting me know
Now
that
I
early.
don't, now I don't need
Yeah.
to continue
Yeah,
this.
he's
Yeah.
on the curb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in a partnership, it also doesn't mean that I won't pay. Meaning that there might be a point in time I want to take him to dinner.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to treat
Absolutely.
him because he's been treating me.
But all the time? Like,
But-
is it Dutch all the time?
No,
I mean,
no,
is
no.
that no?
No.
There's something about that I have found I'll put it this way, that I have found in men that I enjoy.
Yes.
About them wanting to take care of me. And that doesn't mean that I can't take care of myself. That's something I had to learn, though, because the society shifted around in the 60s and the 70s, and we're all products of that shift to where there was a thought sometimes that women had that you think I can't do it for myself.
Right.
And that wasn't what they were saying.
Right.
What-
Okay, that's a
That
good point.
they weren't
there.
saying that.
Yeah.
They were
yeah.
just saying, these are some things I can do for you to
Yeah.
support you, to take care of you,
Yeah.
and please let me do this.
Yes.
And we need to find the balance on that, definitely, because of this whole, well, I don't open doors anymore because the last time I opened the door for a woman, she bit my head off and said, I can do that myself.
Yeah, and so
that's
guy,
not the balance.
if she bit your head off, you just finish that date and find somebody else
Right.
who
Yeah.
because
exactly.
we're
We're not
out
all,
there.
yeah.
Right.
We're
That's the
yes,
same
that's-
kind of information that he now received, just like somebody who said, I don't buy flowers.
Right,
It's like,
right. That's
know,
it. Doesn't
so he
don't
doesn't have to
project to
change.
all women on
Exactly.
something like that. You're dying to say something.
I just, there's so many things that I could jump on the bandwagon with here, but one of the things that came up was the distinction of of income earning. And just because a woman's occupation may offer her more dollars and cents per week, per quarter, per year than her mates, doesn't mean that she doesn't want to still be taken care of by him. And there's so many ways that we care for one another as people, as men to women, as women to men. And, you know, I have a tendency to advocate for guys a lot of times because I think we've kind of made them into shrinking violets a bit. Yes. And so, you know, I had a girlfriend, she's got 2 degrees in psychology, and she's, you know, she's a 6-figure income earner, and she has a tendency to like very rustic men. And she will date a maintenance engineer. And so, you know, but when she's angry with her maintenance engineer, she will remind him of the difference in their incomes. And I'm like, sweetie,
Ouch.
you cannot do that. He still needs to feel like a king. If you make 6 figures and he makes 5, that could never be brought up in a discrepancy between the two of you. It's like a biracial couple. You could never call him a and he could never call you a you know what I mean?
It's fighting dirty.
Please, yes. You know, we always have to feel loved and thought very highly of by our mates, regardless of whatever resources we're able to generate. We need to understand that this person is the most important thing. A situation or a circumstance will never be more important to me than you. Neither a paycheck either.
Yeah. Good point. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering why we're talking about sex again, this is the last week of the month, my special series, Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa, because I am determined to make pleasure a G-rated or a G-spot rated topic. And you are tuned into ubnradio.com on Tuesdays, CNBC, KCAA, AM 1050 on Thursdays and Saturdays. And we do have a women's panel, a virgin women's panel, as in the first time I'm having a women's panel on this series with me. And you're hearing from Marianne Lewis, who is an actress, singer, producer, anything, Renaissance woman. How do we find and single
And available.
and available? Yes. What's your website? Just so that because she's
My website is unconditionalmusic.com or mariannelewis.com.
Wonderful. And then Sonia Jackson, Ms. Producer Director of Conversations Bout the Girls, and you can find her at.
You can find me on Facebook, Sonia Jackson, Sonia Jackson. You can also find conversationsboutthegirls.com, Conversations Bout, without the A, and Facebook, Bout the Girls.
Yeah, that's great. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the play after the break. And then Sexpert.
Tanyetta Denier at Tanyetta Denier on Facebook. I'm also at Heal Thy, one word, Heal Thy Sexy Life.
As in healthy, but heal thy. And so in the 1 minute before we go to break, give me, because you get a lot of your theory from a book called
The Tao of Sexology.
Yes, so
by Dr. Stephen Chang.
What is the most sensitive pleasure spot for women?
Oh, there's too many.
Okay,
There's too many.
Just
to
give
name.
me a start. Let's see if
gosh.
number one. Is there a number one?
Well, okay. We
Sonia's giving her
the
hints.
the breasts offer a direct signal to the clitoris. So that's a wonderful secular signal to send from the areola and the nipples right to the clitoris.
So, okay, next.
Dr. Marissa.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot. Literally, the G spot.
Oh, there's so many places. I mean, the labia, even the neck. You know, if you kiss a man or a woman down the right side, this is an energy meridian.
The right
here.
side, not the left side. Interesting.
Yeah, the eye, you can circle like if you're kissing or tickling with the tip of the tongue around the ear, down the cheek, down the neck. It just opens up wonderful sensory.
And men, I know that you're listening. There's probably more men tuned in today than women, because I know that you don't get told these things, and so you're hearing it firsthand. because I think part of the issue, which is why I'm doing this series, is the lack of education or the miseducation that comes from mainstream, either, your friends talking about it for the teenagers or porn. You get a really non-accurate way to turn on the women, because what I got from the male panel was they really want to know. They really want to know how to turn on the women, but they don't know. And all they know is what they see. And if they see something that isn't accurate, then that doesn't help the cycle. Yeah. So this is a very good, and we're going to come back after we take a commercial break, thanking those who helped sponsor this show in this series. And we'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in. And peace out.
How do you prepare a young teen for the sexual culture they're growing up in today? Science teacher Dave Beck's hilarious and harrowing book, They Asked You What?, does just that. It gives the student, their parents, and teachers the knowledge and tools to deal with the reality of today's overwhelmingly sexual American culture. And it's a great, fun, thoughtful read. Read it yourself. Give it to your teen and/or their teachers. Available for Kindle download and softcover purchase at Amazon.com.
Do you want more life balance? Are you 88% happy with your health and well-being, your relationships, your livelihood? If yes, do the Abundance. If no, and you'd like a life balance tune-up and align those head, heart, spark plugs and smog check the BS belief systems that are clogging your lifelines, contact Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, at www.4balance.org for a session on the air or a private one on the beach.
Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa today, also known as the New Asian Dr. Ruth, because we're talking about sex. It's sexual healing with Dr. Marissa and my Virgin Woman's panel, quote unquote, on the Virgin. And I have asked Sonia to actually share a little bit of her play, Bout the Girls. And we're going to do a little vignette here and go. Am I supposed to be reading anything? Or Marianne's going to do it? Okay, here we go.
All right. So I'm doing a cold reading here.
Yes.
Okay. Tell you about nipples? You want me to talk about nipples? You can't talk about them. Why? Because they have a mind of their own. You never know what they're going to do next. Perfectly nice day. You look nice. Beautiful sweater blouse. Then someone asks you, cold? You say, no. Shake your head and look down, and there they are, fully blown, out at attention, saying hello to the world.
and there's many, many more little tantalizing, titillating vignettes that Sonia has put together in her play, Conversations About the Girls. If you are in West Hollywood, so obviously my East Coast listeners are not going to be able to go to this, but it's the 10th anniversary celebration of this play.
10
wow.
years.
And there's many, many actresses. Two of them I know. Valerie. Three. Rosie. That's great. It's on October 23rd to 25th, Friday at 8, Saturday at 3 and 8, Sunday at 3 at the Matcha Theater and Films. For more information, go to www.conversationsboutthegirls.com and make sure that you go there. And then, Sonia, you also have a book. It's called Conversation About the Girls.
Yes,
Tell us about this.
It's the first collection of monologues in the piece, and it is available at the play.
Wonderful. And the Asian Oprah giveaway today is actually a copy of this book, a signed copy of this book, that you can, the first person to, let's message me on Facebook and say, I want more boobs, would be a good tagline to have. Yes, then I'll know that you would like the book. How's that? All right, getting back to our questions. Another funny question that I'm getting a key. Our sexpert has something to say about, or she had the break to think about my question. Here we go.
I did. I found a little area here in the book on foreplay. Ooh. And the thing that I love about the Tao, it's very to the point. He doesn't spend pages and pages explaining things. He really goes to the grits and gravy of things. And I was talking about that stomach meridian that begins at the neck. And so he says here, foreplay is an important and necessary part of satisfying a woman. During foreplay, those assuming the active role give pleasure, while those assuming the passive role receive pleasure. The first half of foreplay begins at the eye and follows the path of the stomach meridian and ends at the groin. The man holds the woman with his left hand and, using 4 fingers of his right hand, rubs and presses the vaginal opening and clitoris with the smaller circular motions. At the same time, he gently kisses and licks and breathes. It doesn't get any more graphic than this, I promise. On and around a woman's eye.
The owner of KCAA is already having a heart attack right now.
On and around the woman's eye, to the cheek, from the cheek to the mouth, from the mouth to the ear, from the ear to the neck, from the neck to the shoulder blade, and so on. When he reaches the breast, he should gently kiss the nipple and lick the breast in a circular motion, then moves from the breast to the abdomen, from the abdomen to the groin. After completing one side, he should work on the stomach meridian on the other side of the body. The second half of foreplay begins at the foot and follows the path of the kidney meridian and ends at the genitals. And the man kisses and licks and breathes on the meridional points. He also massages and uses those points with one hand. His free hand manipulates her genitals. Each half of foreplay may last from 10 or 20 minutes. If foreplay is done well, the woman can be brought up to the 4th level of orgasm, which is halfway there. And then, if intercourse begins at this point, a woman is easily brought to the 9th and complete level of orgasm. And the woman can also do these techniques on her man.
I love it. It's like a map.
Mm-hmm.
It's like GPS for sex. Come down the neck, then make a right turn.
You cannot make a mistake. You cannot make a mistake following directions.
Even
if he doesn't want to follow directions,
just redirect you.
You can just
rerouting. You are not in an erogenous zone right now.
Okay, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here,
right
to
anywhere.
I know. I was like, this is the exact antithesis of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You know, the exact
And
opposite.
she really is saying thank you.
Yes, yes. That's great because this is, again, not something that you are taught. Your parents don't sit down and teach you this.
You know, there are, and I've often said that our educational system needs help, but there are organizations, well, maybe not organizations, but tribal practices that have young men and young women with older mentors before going out on their own. There are tribal practices.
Wouldn't that be something?
Can you imagine that here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you had been taught by
rites of passage. Rites of passage.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I would love to not have to teach a man to cradle my face when they're kissing me. I mean, it's just like, and I don't know why that is so difficult. Why is it that more men don't know how to do that? Then I just don't want to, grab the hand and go, can you do this? Kind of takes the mood out of it all, right? But I'll tell you, when he does, I'm like, ooh, if I wasn't paying attention before, I'm paying attention
Well,
now.
I have started training my friend.
Your friend?
Yes. I don't need all the rest of them. I'm the one that I have right now is that's all that, and
okay.
So, what we're doing is like the whole thing we were talking about earlier about partnership. It's about taking care of each other.
Yes.
And taking care of each other is not just about having a roof over your head and food, and it's also about taking care of each other. So and the whole thing about just, well, what do you like? In the throes of it, you don't really want to explain.
Right.
It just takes you out. So sometimes what's good is afterwards or just playing around. So you know what I like? Mm-hmm. This is what I like. Why don't you try this for me? What do you like? Mm-hmm. And then, so just playing around at some other point in time, and then so that when you're in the throes of it, He doesn't have to ask.
Right.
We're getting vehement agreement from
Yes.
the token male in the room, also known as the sound engineer, assistant producer Jarvis. He's going. So yeah, games.
You know, we just like we don't want to tell them. They don't want to be told, especially in the throws. It just disturbs the groove, you know? And then here's something that I just thought of. I'm also a barber by trade. And so I'm always cognizant of how long hair grows and how we need to keep things faded and smooth and shaded. And so I shared with my dude that I wanted him to give me a haircut in the...
Yeah. We got it.
Yes.
in the Meridian. And you know, he'd kind of been, you know, tiptoeing away from it and just like, I don't want to do that. And finally I set up the barbershop for him. You know, I set up the barbershop in the bedroom and, you know, brought the tools, and when he walked in, I was just kind of assuming the position. And he looks and goes, oh, why do you want me to do this? Why do you want me to? And finally I said, babe, just, you know, and he grabbed the clippers and he just began to take a look and examine the machine and examine the position that I was in. Because when you're assuming their position in front of a man, and they are all visual first, there's no way in the world he's going to turn his back on that.
Now, this is where you are just a tad different than the average woman. At least I will speak on behalf of the average woman. And one of the reasons that I started this series is because many, many women are not comfortable. We've been brought up to believe that that is dirty down there, or that is not beautiful down there. And I know, Sonia, you're not one of them either, but I am. I totally am. And for me to assume the position, you might as well ask me to like fly to the moon, because I'm already so self-conscious about myself naked.
But what she's talking about is that worked for her. So what you find is the one that works for you. See, that game worked for her.
Yes.
But
there's also a confidence and a comfortability that one can develop and probably needs to develop to some degree, so that you leave behind the ideas that were fed to you about whether or not you're clean or pretty down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they find us pretty down there.
I need that work.
Yeah.
So
again, we look different from them, and what looks different from them appeals to them. We look like flowers down there. Those look like petals to them. You see him nodding?
We've got
we don't have the camera. We haven't got the camera.
Right, but you know, and just having, you know, opening up conversations like this is a huge step, because we just never talked about sex. You know, people didn't, and I mean, I know my mom used to say, you know, the best form of birth control is an aspirin held tightly between the knees. You know, and it's like
an aspirin.
Yeah, it's
An
just
aspirin
it's,
held
you know,
tightly
between the knees.
But you know, it's the whole. It's like, don't do it. Let's not talk about it. Like, you know, it's all this taboo around sex and sexuality, and you know, and yet, you know, young people are growing up, and it's everywhere around us,
and they're doing things.
But you know, to have just an authentic conversation to shed some of that taboo, and just let it be okay for us to talk about what we like, what we enjoy, what we want, what we don't want.
It's tough, and I will speak on behalf of many women who thank me for doing this on the air, because they, like me, have had some horrific experiences, like being rejected in the bedroom, like being told they're fat to their face, or to be looked at like they're disgusting, or to be told that they they're obese, or they have let themselves go, or that they the only way that they are treated, or the only way that they're approached is when the man turns the light off first. I mean, that is the reality that feeds many women into the shame that continues, that needs to be released. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself as well as many of those women.
And one of the things that I want to go back to say is that we said something earlier, and that is to recognize that, that's them. That's where they're,
Yes.
that's because when you can, this is the thing, there's nothing more important than that you feel good.
Yes.
And if someone is saying something to you other than that, if you feel bad, then you kind of go, oh, then I'm not in the right situation, or this person who's saying this to me is not the right person to speak to me because they don't know how to talk to me, or for whatever reason, because I don't care. I'm thin, and I've always been thin, but I'm also very strong, but I have cellulite on my thighs. And to have, what was it in that Valentine, the play that was a movie once where she sat there and the guy, and she went, oh my God, he kissed my cellulite. And that was like, and she, because he liked her. It didn't matter.
Right.
And so
Right.
if some guy is saying that to you, then what you can do, especially in that moment when you feel bad, you kind of go, oh, thank you. Thank you for the clarity.
Please.
Here, pick up your pants. You can find that door.
And prayerfully, the pants aren't off yet, so
Yeah, hopefully.
you don't have to undo that part.
And this is one of the things about my play that I like is because we can sit in the dark and we can examine ourselves about, well, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, why am I uncomfortable? It's just about my body or the body and that kind of a thing. I mean, I had a woman who talked to me about doing the play all the way to the point of getting the script and everything. And my play is actually G-rated. It has no bad words. It doesn't have bad language. It just, not any of that stuff. And she said, "Oh, I can't have you do this because it's a family group here, and we have we have conservative adults." I want to say, "Oh, Republicans, you mean?" Yeah. But another thing.
I mean, is it less than G-rated if we simply call the body parts by their names? We're not using slang or colloquialisms.
Or talk about them at all.
And then here's something else that came to mind was the Dr. Christiane Northrup. Please get her book on women's bodies, women's wisdom. She talks about women undoing the ideas of our body parts being dirty or odoriferous or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should wait until we come back, but I wanted to finish sharing with you all about my haircut.
Unfortunately. Yeah, you've got 10 seconds because we're at the end of the show and I have to actually do my balance bar before we leave. So
He focused.
yes.
He focused. He gave a wonderful haircut. And when he finished, he looks at me and he says, "I see now why you wanted me to do that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because it's intimate." I said, "Exactly. And if I had to tell you, you wouldn't have never known."
Right. Right. Absolutely. So this is obviously only going to be part one of two parts. So no more virgin women, but we will come back and do another
been
one
deflowered.
of these sexual healing. But thank you so much to the three of you. Marianne Lewis at unconditionalmusic.com, Sonia Jackson, conversationsboutthegirls.com. Go see her play. Antonietta Denier, Heal Thy Sexy Life.
Heal Thy Sexy
Yes,
Life.
thank you so much. We're right up against the end of the show. And just a minute of Balance Bar, where you get to find out how you can join me. I am speaking this Friday for my second Asian Heritage event, the Asian Woman Entrepreneurs AWE Awards Luncheon at the Anaheim White House, which is owned by Bruno Serrato. If you haven't heard that interview with the CNN Hero of the Year, please do that. And big peace shout out in and out to all the Asian Entrepreneur of the Years that I met and got to MC and sing for last Friday in Beverly Hills. Peace in and peace out. It was wonderful to meet you. And then round 52 of the 21-day Fast from Complaining starts on October the 1st. Sign up at forbalance.org. Get a certificate from my Balance Marketplace like Carrie Levin did last week and support my peace work around the planet at the same time as all proceeds from anything from my marketplace goes towards that. I'll be posting balance tips from Toronto and Australia for this round. Donate for the app at gofundme.com HRAXLO. And thank you so much for supporting my piecework around the planet. Next week, remembering the anniversary of October 12, 2011, Seal Beach Salon shooting, the worst massacre in Orange County that I was in the middle of at the library as they were finding out about the victims. We're going to talk about balanced healing from loss. And a friend/client of mine, Vanessa, lost her mother, her husband, and most recently her daughter in the last 2 years, is going to come on the air to share her story. And then we're going to give some balance tools to help you, if you've lost anyone recently, to heal from that loss. So please do tune in for Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Before the dawn.